Hello, everybody. My name is Engineer Kingangi. I'm 66 years old this year. I'm a civil engineer by profession. I'm married to one dear wife and 3 children. I'm not yet a grandfather, but I'm hoping one day, God willing. And I worship at the Karura Community Church. I used to be at Nairobi Chapel for many, many years, but now I moved to Karura Community Church.
My name is Laura Nzisa Nzuki. I am married to one husband. His name is John Gatehi Wanjiru. I'm a mother to one daughter for now. I currently serve at Karura Community Chapel with the Karura Voices. I am a professional vocalist. The former Laura was loved by her dad, and she had a trait of invisibility. She was invisible to everyone, and that came to play. It was a very important trait for what she decided to start doing. So one day I stepped in a room and they were talking about some things that I cannot mention. And they just realized, wait, how long have you been sitting here? And I was like, I think 2-3 hours. And they needed someone new. They needed fresh blood, for lack of a better word. And the fresh blood brought good business.
I've been coming to Karura Church for many years. And one day there was a sermon by the preacher of the day, and they talked about stepping out and going out, stopping being a backbencher. So I said to myself, I've been coming to church for over 40 years, and I just come to the sermon, and after the sermon is over, I take off in my car. So I approached Bishop Gary, and I told him, I would like to, I'd like to go to a mission. At that particular time was when we were starting the construction of the sanctuary. So I knew that as a civil engineer, that is where I'm going to be taken. Anyway, one day he called me and told me, I have thought about it and I want to put you in the prisons and rehab mission. Now my brothers, let me tell you, the word prisons really scares me. So I was saying, oh my God, what have I got myself into? Luckily for me, at that particular time, the next week there was a COVID, pandemic. So all prisons and rehabs were closed. So I said, God, you have heard my prayers, eh?
But the thing about being in the line of work that I was in, you needed to be invisible for you to make very loud steps. And one thing turned into another. It started with just being a normal peddler. You are given a package, you take it to a location that you don't even know because you have a hoodie on your head, like the movie style. But then it got to a place where they trust you to a point where they don't even need to cover your head anymore. Because you're so into it, you have so much zeal, you're enjoying it because the money is good. And then it started getting graphic. But the thing about my heart, I was never bothered. I got to a place, my heart became solid rock. I would see things and I would be like, so. My Damascus moment happened one day when I got late to pick a package. I have no idea how and what was keeping me in the house.
I got a call from Pastor Fred, and he told me, look, the rehab mission is opened. Would you mind, coming with me on one Sunday? I'll go. So we went for this service. We go to the retreat in Red Hill, and but I got there and I realized, the rehab is just, like a normal place, a normal hospital with normal people. There was a book that they're doing called Journey to Freedom. So, that was part. So I asked, so I got a copy, and then I started, to read this book. It was during the reading of this book that I realized that I have a problem with alcohol. I admitted to myself, at first, when I was reading the book at the beginning, I was in total denial. I have no problem, I drink. But then the more I read the book, I realized, yes, I do have a problem with alcohol. So being very smart, I called myself a functioning alcoholic.
So this one time, I could not do anything on time. Later in the day, I tried calling my handler to tell him that I can't make it, only for me to realize that it could have been a sting operation, and everyone that I knew up to that point, the people I had met, because there are people you meet and there are people you don't meet, everyone died. But guess what? I just thought, hey, more money for me. But why do I call it a Damascus moment? Because that moment kept playing on my mind. I was like, if I had left on time, that would be the end of me, you know. And then I just quit. I threw the phone, because we had a specific gadget that we used to use, those flip phones. I took the package, I threw it in the river nearby. And funny enough, that person, that Laura that I was, did not affect who I was as an individual, as a friend. Most people, not even my family, knew what I was doing. I was just making money. Then I started to realize that the people at the rehab, they are just one step away from me. You know, I'm very near there. And most people, you know, they go over the tipping point. I started thinking, you know, so I think the first step for me was now being aware. So I started looking at the amount of alcohol I drank, and I realized, my God, it is really a lot. I had tried to stop many times, you know, but I never could manage. But then there's one day that I went down on my knees and I asked God, please help me. And, you know, remarkably enough, actually, you know, I stopped. That's when I also gave my life to Christ. My journey to Christ began. I was in the studio doing an advert, and then Rev walks in. So I meet him at the door, and he says, hi. I'm like, oh yeah, because I was in a hurry, I was going somewhere. And then somebody calls me, and I'm like, yo, kunjiani nakam, kuja. No, he's like, wait. My name is Pitson. Can you please come back to the studio? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So he sits me down, he asks me, where do you serve? I'm like, serve. I mean, I was thinking in a hotel or something. I told him, I don't know anything like that. He asked me if I'm free so that we can have because I was in such a hurry, he asked me if I'm available the next day to have, you know, a conversation with him. I'm like, yeah, anyway, sikwani, it's free lunch. It's still a journey. We're still struggling with it. But now I'm able to empathize with the people at the rehabs, and the journey has really helped me. I'm sure my family, if you ask them, I have been changed a lot. I feel much better, you know, and I know, yes, but like I said before, it's still a journey. I realize, you know, that all my life before that, everything was all about you know, I went to school for myself, you know, I was working for myself. But now I find that, you know, I'm giving back something to society. And that really makes me very happy. And as God says, you know, we should go out, you know, and spread His word. So, you know, that's what we do at the rehabs. What can I say about addiction? I think for me is to first of all know that, yes, you are capable of killing this addiction. Without God, it will be almost impossible. Some people try, but the majority who succeed, you know, that I've seen are the ones who accept God. You know, everybody who has an addiction, seek help, acknowledge that you have a problem, and cry out to God. For the first time in my life, I told someone the truth of who I really was. And we started walking this journey. He invited me to sing in his band. And then he would call me, hey Laura, usikuje ka umekata maji. I'm like, sasa ananiambia nisikuje nimekata maji. Na so I already have an opened bottle in my table. One day I just felt, you know, I need to stop completely. You know, there's stopping and then there's and then there's actually stopping. And one day I had taken this package and it was going to like give me a lot of money. And I took it to Rev and I told him, I've been doing this also. And he told me, you know, today I want to teach you something. You're going to come from the level of income to provision. Where? And it's not been downhill from there. It's been uphill from there. Knowing Christ was the best thing that has ever happened in my life. The rowdy, the one who was ready for a fight. I would beat anyone on your behalf gladly. He turned me into a small girl, you know. It's like he gave me a new beginning. It's like I became an infant again. He's only interested in the who I become in him. Right now, I just want to spread the gospel like my life depends on it, because it does. I will spread the gospel and spread it through music, because that's what I know right now. Niteleze, nianguke, nikose, na nichafuke, utanifikia, 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 utanifikia,